Okay, so today we're going to be drawing a stallion. This is a black stallion. And just like with any other drawing, we're going to be working with basic shapes. I'm going to start out sketching in light blue first. Okay, so the basic shapes are going to be, I'll draw those shapes over here. Start with basic shapes: circle, triangle, square, and then a cylinder. Okay. The largest shape that I see on this horse, we're going to be drawing on a piece of paper landscape. So I'm also going to draw the piece of paper. You guys don't need to draw the paper. This is to show you the paper is more wide than it is tall. Okay. The first thing I see here is the rectangle of the horse. Here's the rectangle. When I look at this horse and I see that rectangle, I make sure there's enough space on top, left, right, and bottom. So when I sketch that rectangle, it's right in the correct location. So this is where I'm going to sketch that rectangle. Okay. Next thing I'm going to sketch is the rectangle of the neck over here, the rectangle. I'll place that rectangle right over here. I'll keep the same angle like that. Okay. On the back of the horse, I also see a circle within the rectangle. That circle, I'm just going to place that circle right over here. Okay. And then the rest, the front of the head of the horse, here's a triangle right over here. I'm going to place that triangle right here. Like that. Okay. Front of the horse, there's a circle right over here. Okay. This will help make me draw everything nicer later. Okay. Now, after I have all those shapes, I'm going to get rid of lines that we don't need on the reference photo. So just so everyone sees what other shapes that I have break down. Okay, next thing I want to draw is I'll look for where the joints are. So we have a knee over here, and then we have this part over here. I'll just sketch those in the right location. So we have the larger circle here, and then we have a line. I'm just going to sketch a line just to follow the angle. And then here we have this circle right over here. Okay, I don't worry about any of the outside drawings yet. Right now, we're just making sure everything is placed in the right place. Okay, we have another circle here. This circle is a little bit further back and the angle is here. This one angles this way, and there's that circle. I'm just going to sketch that circle in. Okay, we're going to continue moving forward and work on his back left leg. Okay, we're going to look for where this circle is in proportion to how far it is from the body. So originally here's a rectangle. That circle is directly underneath here. So I just place that circle right over here. Now, when I place the circle, I also look at where this circle is on horizon to that one. So I want to make sure those circles are in the right place. Okay, so that means I don't want that circle to be here. I don't want that circle to be here. I want to make sure it aligns up perfectly here. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of more of these reference photos so I can continue showing you what I'm seeing. Okay, this circle here, I'll follow that angle. So here's this angle. I'm going to get rid of this bottom line here. I don't want to, not enough space. Okay, so I'm going to place that circle, that same angle. When I look at angles, make sure angles are parallel to each other. This angle is parallel to this angle on this side. Okay, so that means don't make it like that. Do not make it like this. Make sure it's in the right angle, like this. Okay, after I have that angle here, I look at the length. Okay, I look at negative space. Okay, I'll place that circle right over there. Okay, so now we have the horse's left front leg and left back leg. Okay, next I'm going to work on the other leg on the other side. Okay, I'm going to find where this shape is. This shape is about 1/4 of the whole horse. So 1/4 of the whole horse is right over here. I'm going to place that one right over here. I'm just going to place that circle here. Okay, and then the other circle is just right in the same place. Just leave that there. Okay, now I'm just going to draw the line here so we all can see where that leg is. Okay, now the other knee joint here, I'm going to move this one a little bit lower. This one over here. I'm just going to move this a little bit lower. Okay, so this back leg here. Okay, I'm just going to connect this that V, the triangle shape here, and then here we have the circle right over here. I'm going to place that circle there. This other knee here, place that circle right there. Okay, and then the tail, we have a rectangle shape like that. So I'm just going to place that rectangle right over here. Okay, so now we broke everything down using the basic shapes. I'm going to erase lines that we don't need so we can see that horse a little bit better. Okay, get rid of those lines. Now that we have the measurements, I'm going to start adding in more of the flesh of the horse to the outside. So earlier we added the skeleton over here, and then I'm going to add more. Okay. Okay. So here, just add that skeleton. I mean, add that shape. Okay. Right over here, just add those thicker lines. Just make sure everything's in the right place. And then here's a triangle for the hoof. Here's a triangle over here, and then a triangle over here. Okay. And also triangles for the ears. I'm going to shape out the head a little bit better. Okay, erase lines that we don't need. Okay, make sure it's in the right angle. I'm going to sketch this a little bit better. Okay, so now that I have my initial layout already, now look at it, make sure everything's measured in the right place. Okay, I'm going to add the hair over here. Okay, this part here. Okay, again, we start off sketching very lightly, and then we just keep adding more and more lines in between. Now that I have that done, if you're drawing in pencil, you're going to get a eraser and kind of lighten it up a little bit. So I'm going to go here and lighten up my sketches. Okay, like that. I'm just going to erase these lines so we can go to the next stage. Next stage is where I tighten up the sketch. Okay, tightening up the sketch, lock here, go to here. I'm going to use a different color to tighten up the sketch. I'm going to use red. Okay, when I tighten up the sketch, I'm still sketching, but I'm looking at all the angles. So originally we had a straight line here. I'm going to go here and then look at all the little bumps and shapes. Okay. So we're going to move here. I'm going to make the screen a little bit larger so we can see more. Okay, so here I'm going to start sketching, starting with the head. Here's the nose, and then this phase. During this phase, I'm still sketching very lightly. Okay, here's all of this, and the lines doesn't have to be perfect. You're just making sure everything is placed in the right area. Okay, don't trace over your lines. Your original sketch, the layout sketch, is just a guide for you to draw your lines a little bit better. Okay. So my eyes are constantly looking at the reference photo and my drawing, even though I sketched everything out already. Okay. The chest a little bit lower. The body here is a little bit higher. I'm going to draw the horse a little bit longer because I had it a little bit too short. So I'm going to bring this around here. This curves this way. And I look at all the curves here, here. And then we have the back leg, the hoof. And then we have the back right leg right here. Okay. And then the tail, we're going to have the tail here. So notice that even though I sketched this out here, I still continues tightening up the sketch and not following my lines exactly. The first step of sketching things out is to make sure you have everything in the right place first. Okay, I don't like the way the head looks. I'm going to resketch it. Okay. There we go. I'm going to make that head a little bit further out. Okay, here's this angle. I'm going to keep that angle the same. Okay, there we go. Here's the nose. Here's the bottom of the lip. Get rid of that line that I used to measure. And make this a little bit higher. Okay, here's a jaw. Okay, I think I need the horse a little bit wider. for my drawing. So I'm just going to go over here and make that horse a little bit wider. Move all of this further out. Okay, there we go. And then I'm just going to adjust this. Okay, so if I was drawing this on paper, I can always like erase it, but on the computer, I'm just do this a little bit quicker. I'm like over here and adjust this. Okay, here's the eyes. Here's some of the main. Here's the nostrils. Okay, here's the front of the chest, and I'm still sketching, I'm not drawing yet. Okay, here's the back part of this horse. Here's the back part of that horse. Okay, there's some fur. Okay, so now after tightening up the sketch and I look at it, and I'm happy with the tightened sketch, then I'll move on to the drawing stage. I'm still sketching lines, make sure everything is in the right place. Okay, I want the neck to move back a little bit more. Okay, have this shape there. Okay, some of the muscles there. Okay, so now that I have everything here, I'm happy. I'm going to get rid of my initial sketch. Okay, right over here, get rid of that sketch. Get rid of that. And then my tighten sketch, I'm going to use my eraser, and then I'm just going to soften it up a little bit. If you sketch very lightly with pencil and paper, then you don't need to do the erasing. On my Photoshop, I'm going to lock it so I don't draw on the wrong steps. And then now I'm going to get black pencil. I'm going to start drawing everything nicely as best as I can. So I'm going to take the head of the reference photo and go closer to the head that I'm going to draw on the horse. Because here's the head. I'm going to take this head. Let's see, we're going to take that reference photo here. Okay, I'm going to bring that head right here so I can see it a little bit better. There we go, put that head there. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my drawing. Okay, I'm going to zoom into the head. We can start drawing the head first. Okay, zoom into the head and start drawing the details on the head. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to have black pencil. I'm going to start drawing the shape of here is nostrils. If you haven't drawn the rest of the body yet, you can always come back or just go back on the video. But here I'm going to just draw all the curves of the head. Okay, take your time on this one and just draw a clean line. Okay, we have the front of the mouth. Okay, again, I'm still looking at the reference photo that I've drawn. That. Then we're going to look at where the eyes are. The eyes, we have the shape right here. And make that a little bit smaller. Okay, we'll draw the mouth. Okay, now here is the ear. We will draw the ear in the front first. Triangle tip. And then the back of the ear. And then the other hair. There's some hair over here. And then we have the other ear. Okay, since we're already here, I'm going to put a little bit more details around the eyes. Okay, and then we have the bottom of the eye. And then some of the structure of the horse. Okay, now I'm going to move on to some of the hair on the horse. And then this hair overlaps this side. This one goes on this side. And just a few lines. Doesn't have to be like exactly all the lines on the hair. Okay, and I'm going to go back here and fix the nose a little bit. I'm also going to start separating where the dark areas are. Okay, there. Okay, I'm going to darken up this one a little bit more. So now I'm going to zoom back and work on the rest of the horse. Oops, let me zoom back out. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to start working on the neck area. Okay, you see these little bumps here? There's a line that goes here and it comes back around here and then goes around. So we're going to go a line like this, a little arch that goes here. And then the front of the chest, this goes here. Okay. Okay, we're to continue looking at the rest of the shapes, all the curves and bumps. Here's a knee. This one goes up here. This one goes around. Okay, the back, we're to draw this part, arch, goes around here, and then draw that line up to there. Now, next, I'm going to start drawing the rest of this. Let me see, where's my pencil? Okay, on the front of the knee, there's a little arch that arches out this way, comes back in, arch out here, and then over here, and then there's a bump like that. Okay. You see how sketching everything is, and then typing in the sketch, it just helps the drawing a little bit better. It just makes drawing much easier. I look at the negative space. Negative space is this little area right over here. Okay, so I'll also draw that that shape. So that negative space right over here, it looks kind of like a half of an oval here. So I just create that half of an oval here. Okay, not all the time are you drawing the shape of the object, you're also drawing the negative space of it. Okay, we're going to have this part go up to here. I'm going to draw the belly of the horse. From here, it starts arching upwards like that. Okay, now I'm going to draw this part of the horse. We'll look here. Okay, down here. Now there's a bump as you get towards this section. There's a little bump over here. I pay attention to all of that. Okay, all of this swoops back up and comes here. So here, swoops up, comes over here. Okay, and then here's the hoof. I follow the same angle as the bottom of the hoof. Okay, so that angle goes like this. Okay, so drawing is all about angles, proportion. If you draw one area of a horse or one area of an object, you look at that and then compare it with another drawing area of the drawing that you've drawn. Okay, I'm going to draw the mane. I would draw the mane first, which is the hair of the horse, before I draw the back. I don't want to draw the back first and then draw the hair over that. So we have some of the hair right over here. Okay, here's a little bit of the back of the horse. And then I'll draw a little bit of lines. There we go. And when I draw the hair of the horse, I try not to crisscross any of the lines. Okay, here's the back. And then I look at these bumps. It goes here, there's a bump, goes back in, goes around. Okay, so here I'm going to go here, goes up, goes back in, and then this one goes around. Okay, and then we have this side. Okay, we're going to draw this line all the way to the back elbow or whatever that's called, right over here. Okay. Okay, next we have this part. I look at how like this leg, it goes in here and it comes back out. This one goes in here and comes back out. We're gonna do the same thing. So we have that part goes in, comes back out. Okay, and then the back part, this goes in and it comes back out. Okay, and then we have all that fur over there. We're just gonna draw a few of those lines like this, and then the hoof. The hoof is right over there. Okay, now we're going to draw the back right leg. Back right leg, we're going to look at where it starts on this belly. So here, this is about, not exactly halfway is over here. So halfway, a little bit back. So halfway and a little bit back is right over there. So I know that that leg needs to start right here, goes all the way here. I'll measure where this fits in. Okay, where this fits in here. And then the back joint right around here. Okay, now we have the front of this part that triangle, we're going to draw that shape right here. Right, like this. Okay. Now, next thing I'm going to draw is the tail. Okay. We'll draw a few lines. We're not going to draw every hair, just a few to indicate where everything belongs, and then we'll come back and then draw it later. Okay, we just get all the outlines done first. Okay, so we have some hair that loops this way, some that goes this way, and just make it random. You don't have to copy all the hair exactly like the way it is, like that. Okay, now that I have, we'll just draw some of the ground maybe over here. I'm gonna move some of that ground a little bit higher. Let's move it a little bit higher. Okay, like that. Okay, draw some more like this. Okay. Okay. Now that I have my sketch of my drawing of the horse, I'm just going to get rid of my Titan sketch so we can all see a little bit better. So Titan sketch, get rid of that. Okay. Now I'm going to go back in here and start drawing some lines on the horse. I'm going to teach you guys something called feathering. So we'll draw this. We're not going to do that much shading this time. We'll teach you guys something a little bit different. Okay, we'll draw this horse as if we're drawing an illustration. I know some of you like shading and smudging. This time we're going to do some of the shade, the hatch lines and illustration lines, cross hatching. So here, I'm going to add some of these lines right over here. Like any areas that I see dark, I'm just going to add lines. Okay, I'll space them evenly. Let me zoom in to make a larger screen. Okay, underneath the horse, I'll hatch lines in. Okay, underneath the neck, hatch lines here. Okay, light source is coming in from this direction. Okay, I'm going to go in here and hatch in some of the hair. Actually, I'm not going to hatch in some hair. I'm just going to draw more hair flowing here so it's darker. And while I do this, I try not to crisscross lines. And you can draw these lines any like direction you want, but try not to crisscross lines. Okay. Here's a structure on the neck over here. I'll just add some lines like this. Okay. Now, before we go on with the rest of the body, I'm going to zoom in closer to the head so we can see some of the details on the head. We already have that head over there. Okay, so the head, I'm going to go in here and start hatching in some of the lines. Okay, so right here, a little bit of lines here. Okay, on the front of the horse, some shadows. Okay, some shadows over here. Okay, any areas that I see a little bit gray, I'll just add a little bit of a cross hatching or hatching. Okay, underneath the neck, we're going to go a little bit of shading right over here. Okay, we add more lines on some of the hair. Okay, on the horse, instead of making everything black, I'm just gonna hatch those lines in. Same with the other side. Okay, some shadows. Give me add a few more strands of hair. Hatch some of this. Okay, see that this is almost like a triangle shape. I'm just gonna go in here and add some of that hatch lines over here. A little bit of grays over here and underneath the mouth, a little bit of a darker lines. Add that line a little bit thicker and then kind of like pull out some of these lines down here. Underneath the eyes, that gray value over here, I'm just gonna add that gray value right underneath here. Okay. Now I'm gonna zoom back out, work on the rest of the horse. Okay. We're going to work on his front left leg first. So the front left leg, we have a lot of values going on. There's a really dark shadow here. I'm going to work on that part first. So we have the line here, and then we get cross hatch. I'm going to hatch those lines first. Okay. And we're going to start doing all the hatch lines first. So we'll do the cross hatching later. We're going to hatch these lines here, and all the while I'm going to look at where it's dark. This is almost like really black over here. So I'm just going to go in here and add that shadow in here. Okay, bottom of the horse over here where all the fur is, I'm going to also hatch. And at the same time, I'm going to add some hair. Okay, add some hair on the inside, not just on the outside, also some on the inside. Okay, now the back of this leg, really dark shadow there. So I'm going to start hatching those lines right in here. When I hatch these lines, I want to keep them parallel to each other. I don't want to hatch lines like this. Okay, I want to keep them somewhat parallel to each other. Okay. Okay, the horse over here, I'm going to hatch these lines here. And then on this side, I'm going to hatch those lines right over here. Okay, now the stomach, we can see over here is like really dark over there. And then it gets lighter over here and it gets darker. So I'm going to start hatching on the bottom of the belly. All of that there. And then on this side of the horse, we're going to hatch all these lines over here. Okay, we see like a little triangle shape over here, which is really dark over there. So we're going to hatch those lines. That. So just hold the pencil, just press down a little bit darker. If you're using an ink pen, you can start inking. If you have a ballpoint pen, you can start using that too. This area on this horse, really black, so we don't really see anything there. So I'm just going to hatch these lines. I'll hatch them closer together, those lines. So when they're closer together, they're a little bit darker. Okay. Now, this back leg here, you see the shadow here? Right here and here, we're going to hatch those lines. I'm going to keep all my hatch lines going the same direction. Like that. Okay. Okay, we're going to work on the back left leg, which is this one. We're going to look at areas that has that shadow. I'm just going to hatch those lines in. Okay. This fur part over here, we're going to hatch those lines right on top. Okay. Any areas that you see some of that happening, just hatch it in and break up where the light source is, the lighter areas and the dark area. Any objects in front, like the front left leg and the front and the back left leg is brighter. The back leg is always darker. So I'm going to go here and hash these lines in.
Walden,
Yes?
it's necessary to keep the all lines in same direction.
It's not necessary. You don't have to keep the lines in the same direction. I'm going to do this in one direction so it doesn't go all over the place, because later on I'm going to go back and I'm going to cross hatch the lines.
Okay.
But you can actually go into any direction you like. I'm keeping it the same direction. Okay, we have this direction. Okay, I'm going to add more fur on the hair. More mane. Just add a little bit more. Okay, and I'm going to continue looking for areas that has that little bit of tone over here. That tone over here, I'm just going to add this line here, here. I'm going to add a little bit of hatch lines underneath the hair. Okay, and then the tail, draw a few more lines. And then I'm going to hatch back here at the tail. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to start cross hatching. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to hatch some of this shadow part. Now, when you hatch lines, you're going to get a gray tone. When you cross hatch, you're going to get a darker value. So for example, underneath the horse, we already hatched these lines on. When I cross hatch, I'm going to get a darker tone like that. See that? Okay, I'm going to cross hatch underneath the hair. I'll keep everything in the same direction just so everyone can see the different tones. On the bottom of the neck, I'll hatch that. Okay, over here, we hatch here. Okay, on the belly, we'll also cross hatch. Okay, on this leg, the back leg here, I'm going to cross hatch these lines. We'll cross hatch these lines. This will push them a little bit back. I know it's easier to just go in there and just darken up everything, but I want you guys to practice hatching lines and spacing them. Okay, this one's spaced a little bit too close. I'm going to add a little bit more line to make it darker. I'll hatch in between some of the white lines to make it darker, but I'm still going the same direction. Okay, same with this leg here and this side. Okay, the darker you can hatch those lines in, the more it'll push that back. Okay, this side, I'm going to hatch these lines. This is cross hatching. And then I'm going to do some cross hatching on this side. Okay, on this tummy here, I'm going to cross hatch bottom. Now, when I cross hatch, I don't cross hatch the whole section, like the whole section there. I only look at where it's darker, and I'll add some of that cross hatching technique right over there. Okay, on this, the back of the tail, like that. Okay. Now, if you want to make it even darker, what I'll do is I'll do 3 times cross hatching. 3 times cross hatching is, for example, I'm cross hatched this way. That's hatching. If I cross hatch, I'll do this one. That's a darker tone. And then the third pattern, I can go this way just to make it darker. If I want it to be even darker, I'll just go back and do 4 times. And then I'll try to keep everything nicely in order. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and do the other cross hatching, go in this direction underneath the neck. And then on bottom of the here, and then also bottom of the horse, just to give it a little bit of darker tone. Okay, and then the stomach of here, I'm just going to go in here. And then any areas that I see that I can control which part is darker, which part is lighter, I'll either hatch lines in or cross hatch it or 3 times cross hatching. Okay.
Can you share screen?
I am sharing screen.
I only see your face.
Uh,
I only see your face.
Can everyone else see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you need to here.
Yes,
Let me
I can see.
yeah,
Yes.
let me stop share and share again. See if that helps. Can you see? So Stella, what were you looking at all this time? My face?
Well, it was fine. All of a sudden it changed.
How about now?
Now it's okay.
Okay. Okay, so
Now it's fine.
okay, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna go in here and start adding more values. Any areas that I see that needs a little bit more value, I'm just gonna randomly hatch and cross hatch in 3 times cross hatch here. And then we're gonna go in here. Okay, all the muscle lines and shapes, I'm just gonna start hatching those in. I'm gonna add a few. I'm gonna hatch all of that mane here. Very fine lines right across on top of the here. I know we don't crisscross, but the tones is going the same direction. Okay, and then the tail, I'm gonna cross hatch this direction. Very lightly, don't press down too hard. Okay, we have the hoofs. I'm gonna keep those hoofs all the same values. Okay. And now I'm going to start picking up some of the lines. This is what I call holding lines. Sometimes if you make some certain lines thicker and certain lines thinner, you can kind of control the depth of the artwork. Okay. Like I'm going to make the bottom of the horse thicker, the holding line of the outside of the hair. Just go here and just make it a little bit thicker, draw it in pencil. Yeah, I would make this a little bit thicker here. I know we're all drawing with pencil, but this is also line weights. You can draw line weights with inking. You can draw line weights with just penciling. Okay. Yeah. And then towards the end of class, even though I did all the hatching, I'm going to show you guys what I would do if I was going to smudge everything in. But I'll do that a little bit later. So some of the hairs on the hoofs, just make it a little bit darker. Okay, some of the hairs over here, make that a little bit darker. Just draw on top. Okay, I'm going to delineate the hair on the back of the horse a little bit darker. So I'm just going to make those outlines on the horse a little bit thicker and darker. Okay, I'm going to hatch more lines underneath. Okay, some hairs over here. We have some hairs fraying out. Hatch a little bit more shadows underneath the horse over here. Okay, let's see where else I can add some more values. Okay, the cross hatch here. Cross hatch over here, hatch over here. Okay, there we go. We make some areas a little bit darker by adding more. Okay, so on the bottom of this, I'm gonna add a little more. So far, everything we've done here without smudging is just a lot of hash lines and cross hatch lines. And all I'm focusing on is just looking at where there's shadows and where it's darker now, just add those in. Okay. There's a horse. I'm gonna make these lines a little bit cleaner over here. Cross hatch a little bit cleaner. Okay. I'm gonna triple cross hatch underneath here. And also here. Okay, so that's how I draw a horse by just drawing lines without doing any of the smudging and shading. Darken up the nose a little bit, make it darker. Add some more bumps around the front of the horse and the back of the horse. Okay, picking up this line. Okay. Okay. Next step. Now we're done. This is a step where you can stop. Actually, let me just go and draw in a little bit more grass, just a little bit grass, just to give it details. Sometimes when I'm drawing work, I'll just add a few dots in here, so it looks like the horse is kind of like there's movement. Okay. Now the drawing is done. I'm just going to go in here. This is like a bonus stage where I'm going to add a little bit of a shading on top, but we don't need to do any shading. Okay. I'm going to take this image. We'll lock this, and then I'm going to go in here. And then add a little bit of shading. Okay, so we have the shading, move this to, let's see, move this to normal. I'm gonna grab my brush. Go in here, add the darker colors. Using the side of the pencil. Back to the tail. Okay, I'll look at any areas that has a little bit of grays and I'll just start smudging it. There we go. Okay, both of the legs that's behind the two legs that we see in front, I'm just going to add some shadows there. Okay, and then now I take the smudger. I'm just going to soften up with the Q-tip around some of the harsh areas. Okay. Okay, just smudge. You use your finger. You use a smudger if you have a smudger or Q-tip. Add a little bit more grays over here. There we go. And if you feel like you need to make it darker a little bit, just go in there and add more pencil lines. So I'm gonna add a little bit more pencils over here, underneath here, because of the shadow underneath this leg, underneath here, on the bottom of this leg, back here. Just push the areas that you feel like you need to do, or if you're just doing the lines, you don't have to do this stage, but I'm gonna go and push these a little bit darker. Okay, I'll use a smudger and I'll soften it up a little bit. Just the edge. I'll leave the center black. Add a little bit of colors up here. Okay, and then I'll start softening it. Okay, start softening this. Okay, and now I'm pretty happy with the horse. I can go back in there and then do some final details. Final details where I just draw extra hair on top of the horse. So I'm gonna increase this. Get a sharper pencil and just draw lines like this. Okay. And that's how I draw a horse with a lot of hatch lines, cross hatch lines, and do some smudging in between.